You can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. But if you try sometimes, well, you might find you get what you need. Ah, yeah. That's the legendary Rolling Stones. Welcome to Industry Outlaws United, IOU for short. I'm your host, Brandon E. Brooks. That man in the other box is the man with the Indie Escape Plan, Joe Ridgely. How are you, Joe?
I am excellent. Very excited for tonight's episode. I mean, I just got to say, you know, I was like a teenager and I can't recall if it was like Cinemax or HBO watching this guy's movies and my mind just being blown.
Oh, yeah. I'm a huge Angel Town fan. And like, I mean, again, just like he was one of the first people, him and some of the other gentlemen from that era, like Mark Dacascos and Gary Daniels were some of the first people I wrote down when you got me to do this crazy show. So yeah, I'm ecstatic that he's in the green room right now. So, but before we get to our guests, any news on the network, my friend?
There's a lot of news. We've got a lot of exciting shows coming up that I can't really speak of as of yet, and I was slacking a little today. I told you what was going on earlier, so I didn't load any posters or anything, so that's on me. I do apologize, but I know somebody that you and Tim may know is going to be on a certain episode on Monday night.
Yeah. Yes. You're talking about Jesse D'Angelo, right?
I am.
Absolutely. Yes. He's going to be an amazing guest. We look forward to my Manic Mondayz with our buddy CJ Robles. It's going to be a great show. So, we're looking forward to that. And yeah, there's a lot of big things coming up with the network. We thank everybody that's watching right now and everybody that's popping in. Not sure who that is behind that Indie Escape Network logo. Could be any of us.
Always a mystery.
Always a mystery, yes. But without further ado, because like I told Olivier in the green room, like this, we could have 3 shows with just his illustrious career. So let's just get to his tribute video and get this show on the road.
Alrighty then.
Awesome.
There we go.
Absolutely dope. What's up, Sean?
Yes, Sean. I got to say one thing before we bring him up, man. He has like one of the greatest smiles, but then he also has one of like the greatest mean mugs you ever seen.
I mean, it's a true OG of action cinema. Welcome to IOU, Olivier Gruner.
Hi.
There's the man.
I got to back up. Look.
How are you, Olivier?
Fantastic.
Awesome. There's some flashbacks there for you.
Oh yeah, plenty of them. You know.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us tonight. It's an honor. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Awesome. So like I said, there's you have such a storied history before we even get to showbiz. So I always ask my guests first off, like, tell us where you're from and tell us a little bit about what you were like as a child.
Well, I grew up in France, in Paris. So my father is a surgeon. My brother's a surgeon. My younger brother's an engineer. So they're extremely smart. I'm kind of the black sheep of the family, just to let you know. So, but growing up in Paris was pretty interesting. You know, I liked the countryside. But, you know, I grew up in Paris. Maybe because I grew up in Paris, I like the country. If I grew up on a country, maybe I would like the city, you know. But I was very lucky, you know. My parents are amazing. You know, they stayed together forever. And, you know, I can't really say anything bad things about my childhood. So I'm very lucky. You know, we went skiing in the Alps. We had a house in the south of France. So, you know, I grew up really lucky. And I think that's why later on I choose to be tougher, because I've been pampered. And there's a great story that I think some people can relate, because, you know, I was always cocooned. The first time I went to school, this is where I realized the world is not as nice. You know, I kind of got beat up a little bit, you know, so because I was too naive. And that really, you know, really shaped me into becoming a warrior. And, you know, just I had to defend for myself, you know.
Absolutely.
So when I was in high school, the first year in middle school, we were taking the subway to go to school, so 5 stations, which is a lot. And then I used to get out and just walk to the school at night, you know, especially during the winter. It's dark, and I got attacked in this kind of in a court, and they asked for my money and stuff. So I give my money, you know, and I got a little bit shaken, but, you know, mentally it really troubled me a lot. So, and this is where I try to learn things, you know, not really martial arts, maybe boxing. I started to try to learn boxing. But my dad, being a surgeon, especially, he was a pediatrician, so he operates on kids' tumors, and so he didn't want me to receive punches in my face. He said, that's not good at your age. So he didn't want me to go to a boxing club. So I was really learning from books at that time. You know, we didn't have YouTube, so we had to learn from books. And so I started by boxing a little bit, you know, on my own.
Okay. So was it true that I read that just like myself, you watched Bruce Lee movies when you were younger?
Yes. So that would be later on when we went to the south of France, and I remember the theater. They had outside theater, which is kind of not common over there. And they had Bruce Lee movies. So I was I forgot what age I was, maybe 15, 16. And it really blew my mind. I mean, when you see that guy moving, the charisma that he has, I mean, he was very, you know, people try to imitate him, but I don't think anybody can replace Bruce Lee. You know, Bruce Lee is really Bruce Lee. It's really something that somebody who, the energy that he brought into the screen was pretty amazing. You
Absolutely.
So,
undoubtable charisma, doubt. So one thing that, like I was telling you briefly in the green room, that I saw is that you at a young age, a lot of young people run away from service, and you ran towards service in the French military, and one of the toughest in like the French equivalent of the Green Beret. So was that by design as part of your plan to just become tougher as a young man?
Well, that's interesting. My dad loved diving. Okay, he's a really good diver. So we were all the time around diving. He talks about diving. And I wanted to sign to the Foreign Legion, right? And he said no, because I was 17 after high school. When I was done, he said, no, you're not going to sign. I'm not going to, sign for you. Mm-hmm. But if you want, you can go to the Commando Marine, which is the selection is so hard that you're not going to know if you're going to make it. It's not like you can design, you can say, oh, I'm going to become a Commando Marine. No, it doesn't happen like that. You have to go through step after step. Yeah. The selection is extremely hard. So in my mind, I was like, I was kind of a little bit intimidated by it, mm-hmm. And I was not sure that I could, when we do closed circuit mm-hmm. rebreathers, so there's you breathe O2 and your body doesn't know how you're going to respond to that. So this is something that I was kind of always afraid of. But anyway, so with my mom, we went in Paris and we signed up. She signed me up. And 6 months later, I was on my way, in the bus, and here we go. And the adventure started.
Wow. And how, I mean, again, I had to be immensely difficult, but I mean, was it something that you ever considered quitting, or was it just something that once you were in it to win it?
Well, I loved it. Every minute of it. Even, cleaning the bathroom with a toothbrush. I mean, we did that, there's a guy with one of the commander came with the white gloves, and he used to go over every single spot, in the room. And he was like this, you're not going to go out tonight. Wow. You have to clean the room again. So, but we got 2 months of being in the Navy. So you have to learn how to sail. You have to learn all that kind of, the boating mm-hmm. and different things about the Navy. We're not warrior yet. We didn't talk about, they didn't teach us yet about, maybe simple stuff with guns, but that was not, the purpose. Purpose is to be a naval, a person, a Navy guy.
Yeah.
And then you go 6 months, and this is where you learn everything about being a soldier. Mm. And then after, if you make it, then you go to the commando. So this is 2 months, and we have Hell Week at the end, of course. And if you survive that, then you get the Green Beret, and then you go to the paratrooper in Pau, which is in the south of France, and this is where you get your wings, for as a paratrooper, and then your life starts, as a soldier.
So that had to be exhilarating. I mean, especially since you did enjoy it, the feeling of getting through all of that, because I'm sure there was many that did not. So along the way. So how did you feel once you made it to the pinnacle of that?
Well, here's the thing. It's 5 days, 5 nights, no sleep. I'm talking about no sleep, no food. The food that we had is we had to find a cache. So what they had azimuth, and you got to get to, they say, well, you're going to see a church and there's a tree. And underneath that tree, you're going to have a cache. So obviously it's booby trap. So you go over there, you got a booby trap. And then you open the big, huge cage. And you see you have a live rabbit, mm-hmm. And you have rice. And I remember I took the rabbit. So we killed the rabbit, right? Skin him. And but we were not allowed to make fire. Oh. So you're going to cook it. So we didn't know. So I tried to grab the rabbit and I tried to eat it. There's no way you can eat the meat is too, even if you're starving. So what we did is the rice was very hard to eat. So we tried to eat a little bit, but it was uncooked, of course. So at the end, what we did, because we were exhausted. I mean, that was maybe on the third day and the third night. So I ate some grass, I pick up some stuff, on the road, and I started eating. And we had to move, constantly moving. So the interesting thing is, I'm pretty good sleeper. I can sleep. I can sleep anywhere. Mm-hmm. And that's the way they taught us. If you have like maybe 2 hours or 1 hour, just sleep, and you sleep so deep, and then you wake up and you do whatever. So what we did, we hold each other's hands. So I was always with one guy. It's a teamwork. So two guys, and we have a bunch of exercise, blowing up bridges, swimming, all that kind of stuff. But I can't go over everything. Escape, some stuff. But what we did to survive is because we were so exhausted, we hold each other's hand, and one guy was awake and the other guy was sleeping. Just closing your eyes when you're so exhausted makes a big difference. Wow. Just your brain just shut down and just relax. And then we go back and forth 1 hour. So
wow. So you did that. So that was, I believe I read 6 years of service.
Yeah, no, 5. I mean, 4 total.
Yeah.
4 total.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then in '81, you left the French military and for another huge challenge,
82.
Which to train for professional kickboxing. So,
no, I was that was not my plan. Now my plan was a little bit different. My plan was I wanted to learn martial arts, but really learn it. So, and it was very hard because my family is not into sports really. They're more intellectuals.
Yeah.
So it was not easy. They're very physically. They're pretty tough physically, but they're not. So for me to learn karate was not. Because this is what I wanted to do first, learn karate. Because boxing, you didn't want to. Okay, fine. And remember, kickboxing at that time was not really allowed in France.
Oh, okay.
It was kind of taboo. Like the UFC, it's kind of taboo in France, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to get in. So I started with karate Shotokan. And I remember being in the south of France during the summer, and I learned from a book. Because again, I couldn't go to the to the gym constantly. I don't know. I forgot the money wise, or if it was money or more the transportation. I forgot. So I learned from books, and what it taught me is really I wanted to do be perfect on every kick. So if you see the side kick, and I was reading, I was looking for the perfection. So I spent hours and hours on throwing that side kick, and then. Wamashigari, and then all that kind of the roundhouse kick, front kick, and I wanted this to be perfect. And then later on I joined a karate club in Saint-Raphaël with Jean-Pierre Lavorato, which is an amazing instructor. He is so good that I quit karate after because I could not find an instructor good as he was. Wow. So if you had a little stain on your white gi, he will say, you go home. This is how tough he was. That discipline was amazing. So he was very particular with every move we made. So I started with Shotokan. And then after I went to Paris, and I met Dominique Valera. And Dominique Valera was a king out there. It's kind of or Chuck Norris, in France. I don't know if you know him. He was excellent. He used to be in the U.S. team also. So, and I joined his team, and this is where I started my. I didn't really want to fight. That was not really my goal. I didn't.
Oh, okay.
No, it was not like really. If you really are martial arts, fighting is not really. Your goal. Your goal is more the philosophy behind and the technique that you use. A little bit like Steven Seagal with Aikido.
Yeah. So did you? So it wasn't your plan to compete competitively at all. Okay, just to kind of learn the techniques and be great at it.
Get great at it, and of course you get sucked into it.
Yes. Yes. But you did end up. But you did end up only after 10 fights becoming a champion. So
more than 10 fights. More than that, because we had a lot of guys. When we show up, some guys didn't show up. But we travel, so it's not like So there's a lot of stuff that I cured during that time. That But I was in the French team, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun, and these guys were amazing. I mean, the coach, Dominique Valera, Renaissance, Zenaf, also the guys you don't know because they are not Americans, But I went to Jeff Smith also, which
Okay.
I went to his gym in DC. But my real dream was to train with Bill Wallace.
Yes.
And I couldn't find. I asked, he said, where can I train with Bill Wallace? That was my dream. I said, the fastest left leg in the world.
Fastest.
That was a guy. I was like, but anyway, so Jeff Smith was great. We had a great time out there in Virginia. And but then after, when I moved to California, I trained with Benny the Jet at the Jet Center.
Oh, awesome!
And that was the mecca of the,
Yeah,
that was awesome.
another legend. That's awesome. So is it true that the Cannes Film Festival that kind of set off? You went there, and that kind of set off like where your film career would begin.
Yeah,
like the trajectory of that. Tell us a little bit about what you did there. That was a cool little story.
That's a funny story. I was with I had two friends, one Swedish one and one American one, Dave and Pete. So Dave and Pete and me, we had a place in the Alps, my family. So we go over there and we decide to do a ski season. So they crash, in my place, and we started our adventure. So after the season, of course, Dave asked me, so what do you want to do? You want to go to the US, or what would you like to do? I said, well, we can go to the south of France and hang out a little bit at my house over there. So he looks and said, okay, cool. And Dave is very, how can I say, he's really an amazing guy. He's very like, we're gonna go through adventure. So he said, let's go and get a job in Cannes Film Festival, for the Cannes Film Festival. I said, I never got a job over there. I mean, what am I gonna do? I don't even know. I just, I went there a few times, but it's not like, I said, yeah, let's go over there. So we go over there, and I got a job, checking the tickets. You can come in, you cannot come in, that kind of thing. So, and I put my poster on the wall, like I was, a champ, and put the poster on the wall, and they look at it. And there's a guy, Dale Mahaja. I looked at it and said, oh, who's that guy? I said, well, it's me. And he touched my muscle, said, oh, good. I have a company who's looking for somebody. And that was Imperial Entertainment. Because Imperial Entertainment had a contract with Van Damme, but Van Damme was so busy at that time. He was on top of his game. So they needed somebody to replace him. Not to replace him, but, just to go along, just to make more films. Because at that time, guys, you make one film, you make millions of dollars. That was, the videotapes, that era. So, they said, so he contacted Dale Mahaja, contacted Imperial Entertainment. They contacted me back, and they said, if you are in California, come and visit us. So at the same time, I met this girl in the south of France, and she was from California. So we decide, okay, let's go to America after the Cannes Film Festival. It's only for 15 days. So we flew to America all together with my dog. I had a big Saint Bernard, and we flew with him. And we landed in New York, and then we went to Pennsylvania, where Dave was living. So we spent 1 week over there, and then I decided to buy a car. Bought a Jeep, and I drove to Florida, where Pete was, a Swedish guy was, with his family. And then from there, I decided to go to California and to see the girl. Okay. So kind of my girlfriend, but not really at the time, So I went over there. So
you drove cross country?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's so long.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, Europe is like California. Actually, like France is like California, but crossing the U.S., especially Texas.
Oh yeah.
Because that took the 10. That's long.
Yeah.
Texas was fast. So anyway, so I arrive in LA, and I tell her, so I'm in LA. So where do I go? Am I there soon? But LA is so big. And again, after an hour, I call her back, say, hey, I'm still. Am I there yet? No, you're not there yet. We didn't have GPS at that time. Remember, we had just the map. So anyway, so I found it finally, and what she did, her and me, we went to Imperial Entertainment, had a meeting, and she was kind of representing me as my agent, which is cool, you know.
Yeah.
And that's the way it started. You know, I met Eric Carson, and I met a writer, two writers, and they wrote Angel Town.
Okay.
You know, and that was based a little bit on what my life a little bit, you know, some stuff they pick up from my life. Yeah, that's
okay, awesome. Yeah, that was the next question, but we have a couple questions. We'll back up a little bit.
Sean
Smithson said, and this is about the French military. Did you do the 8-minute naps with your legs up? I don't know. Okay.
Was I supposed to do that?
I don't know. I think it was just about like when you were saying was like falling asleep in any place.
Anyway, we have another question.
Yeah,
shoot. Yes. Oh, that's funny. I like it.
All right, Joe.
We'd love to know about working with famed and prolific filmmaker Albert
Hahn. Yes.
Albert Pune?
Pune, yes.
Nemesis and Tim Thomerson?
Yeah,
Tim Tales of an Age Empire.
Yes.
Listen, Tim was awesome. Albert Pune, listen, Tim and what's his name? The other one, there was Tim and I forgot his name. He was so good, such great actors. Two guys, and they were so funny. They were so funny. You know, it's great when you work with actors. They don't take themselves seriously, but they are really good. But we have a lot of fun on the set. That's so Team was like that.
Awesome.
Albert Pune was a great director, but I think he's even a better DP. He's amazing. The way the set up the camera.
Yeah.
And the way he, I remember going into that tunnel and himself, you know, really meticulously putting water in different spots to make it shine so the light would reflect and giving that really a certain look. So that was that really impressed me, you know.
Awesome. Yeah, he's a legend as well that doesn't get enough credit for the great cinema that he's created. So back to Angel Town, like was there a lot of pressure on you as like the first project as a lead and an action star? Like, did you feel that, or was it a great experience, or a mixture of both?
Well, listen, I was in the country only for 2 months, right? So my English was not perfect, still not perfect, but I like the accent because the girl likes it. So I'm just kidding. But you know, they gave me a script, and I had to read it, and I had to learn the lines. And listen, I'm good in math, but I'm really not good in we call it citation, which is like the word for learning lines, and I was not good at it, so I had a hard time with that. Especially in different language. Yeah. So I was a little bit nervous, but Eric Carson as a director made me feel so good. So everything was, they're very smart. They plan things. The first day was more like an easy day, walking from point A to point B, things like that. So I would be comfortable with the cameras, and then we're not, and Jeff Mbada was the stunt coordinator, so he's excellent. So I didn't have to. They put all the good people around me. Nice. But there's a story that was very interesting. So as the star of the film, right? So they have the captain chair, right? So they put me on the chair. So I'm like this, right? I'm sitting down. And we are moving the set. I'm not kidding. Maybe like 30 feet. So I got off my chair, and Eric Carson, the director, is right there, close to me. I pick up my chair. I see everybody moving. I pick up my chair, and I'm ready to move. Say, oh, no, don't do it. Don't touch it, anything. So I got up, and they had somebody specifically to move my chair. You had somebody specifically to get me coffee. I was not used to that. So that was really shocking, So I guess that might be important.
It is different. It is different.
Yeah,
I always
it's
tell
different,
stories.
man.
I always tell stories. Like I remember even when I first started almost 25 years ago, I started as a PA, and I remember being on a big film set, and everyone was moving to the next. I just heard over the walkie, all right, we got to move. We're losing light. We're losing light. So let's move. So I just think, okay, I got to help. So I go and pick up a cable, and I got this like union guy like yelled at me, and he gave me the business. You don't ever touch you everything. And I knew, because again, I was wet behind the ears. I had no idea union. I was used to independent. Everybody helps and does whatever. And I never touched a cable again. Like, and he was nice about it, but he was yelling like, he's like, if something happened or you unplug something or anything bad happened, you're never going to work again, maybe, in this business, and it's going to be on us. So I get what you're saying about the chair. That's in a different way, but I learned that lesson harshly that day to never touch anything, like unless never touch anything.
Yeah. So and then after, so the film, went very well. I mean, in terms of production, so it was really well organized. We had a bunch of money, so it was a good production. After, they wanted me to go to different martial arts schools, myself, and just putting the poster. And that was hard for me because my face was on the poster. So can you imagine? It was the hardest thing I had to do. I'm not kidding. I mean, that was really hard mentally for me. Like, hey, can I put my face, in your school? I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
So I looked like an idiot.
Well,
but what
humility.
happened is I remember going to this school, and that was the second school I went to, and it was on Ventura. And this guy, I came, and they were doing some training, and I come in and said, "Excuse me, we have a film and we are promoting the martial arts. Do you mind if we can put the poster, maybe in your gym?" And the guy comes in and said, "Oh yeah, I heard about you. You and Van Damme. So you guys, you're taking everything, right? You think you're tough and stuff. Swear to God." And he said, if you're tough, like everybody said, why don't you come back tomorrow morning, okay? And you got a session with my guy, because my guy doesn't get any publicity, but you do. So, and I said, okay, what do I do now? So I didn't call the company because, I didn't want to involve these guys. So I said, okay, fine. And all night long, I'm not kidding, I was like, I had to bring my warrior back into my brain. And I showed up at 9:00 at the gym, and the guy looked at me and said, "Wow, I never thought you all showed up." I said, "Because you showed up, you know what? I'm going to help you out. Not only that, but I'm going to introduce you to all my students because you had the guts to come back." The guts. I said, "Okay, cool, thanks."
Nice.
Yeah.
That's John, one of our Indie Escape brothers, John Wayne Colwell, said a problem with being on the poster is a-holes want to fight. That's how we roll in the U.S. It's true. Bruce Lee always had challengers on the street, people that wanted to challenge because they thought like, hey, you think you're everything as far as a martial artist. So we've heard many of those stories that of challengers to Chuck Norris and Van Damme and Michael Jai White, all of them. So yeah, there's always somebody that and then they realize that when they really are real fighters, they shouldn't have made that challenge.
Well, I'll tell you what happened with my friend. Okay, one of my friends.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Freddie George. If you Google him, you're gonna see he's a huge guy.
Okay.
I mean, the guy's 260. I mean, he was all ripped, like an MMA fighter.
Mm-hmm.
And he took me to this gym called the Fight Club in Vegas.
Mm.
And I knew him a little bit, but not quite well. And he asked me, he said, "Let's go and spar." And I said, "No, I don't want to spar, man. I really don't want to spar. It's like, for what?" He said, yeah, let's go. He forced me to spar. He forced me. And he came at me, I'm not kidding, like a bulldog. I mean, the guy is huge. I mean, he's scary. So he goes like, ha, 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 super fast and super, intense. So in my mind, I said, he's going to kill me. So in my mind, I switched. I said, okay, now it's a survival. So I relaxed. I put myself in a trance. And as soon as it came to my reach, I unloaded the meanest, strongest sidekick. And he crossed the whole gym. And he landed on a bench. And after we kept sparring, because now I know I got him mentally, and I broke his nose, and I finished him. So, but the guy would have been the top MMA fighter. I'm not kidding. And he would have been the top UFC. He's so good. The problem is he didn't know. He thought, I was just an actor. So, and for me, it was he's going to kill me. For him, it was like, well, I'm going to test the guy. But for me, it was like a survival. So my power was over what I use when I fight, because for me, it was life and death, right?
Yeah.
So that was not really fair. But this is what he told me 5 years ago. He said, I stopped fighting because of you. I said, because of me? I said, yeah. Because if an actor can kick my ass, I have no business being a fighter. I said, Freddie, you're such an idiot. You're such a great, great fighter. And I felt bad, of course, because I don't want people not to fight. I prefer, to avoid fighting. I think if that would have been really, I feel bad about it. But that's one of the stories. So again, like sometimes, you're going to fight against somebody, but his mental state is way above yours, and he's going to win just because of that. Not because you have the skill, but because of his mental state. It's like a little chihuahua coming at you and just bite, but he doesn't stop. So that's why you have to be careful in the street, guys. Doesn't matter if you have the skills. Sometimes you can encounter somebody who has a different motivation. You never know. You never know.
Very true. Very true. And so you've been in a tons of cinema. Like Joe said before the show, we grew up watching, and some of my favorites are Savate and Interceptor Floors. There's a ton of them. I just watched again Assassin X, which my buddy Art Camacho directed.
Awesome.
We had him on the show a few weeks ago. Great guy I've known for a long time, and again, very humble like yourself. But which, if you could pick a specific film in your Rolodex of cinema that you've done, what one is like closest to your heart, like that and what's the reason for that?
Of course, Nemesis. Nemesis was really the epic of my career, because Albert Pyun really prepared me. And it was not the film itself, it was a preparation of the character that was so intense. So he gave me one of the best trainer in the world. I'm talking about physical. That was Eric Sternlich. He's a PhD in UCLA. And he's an amazing nutritionist and trainer. And he got me to where we were supposed to be, right on target. So I was very shredded. And then the music we used. So Albert said, every time you're going to read the script, I want you to listen to this music. And it was the film with the firefighters. What's the name of it? I forgot. Anyway, it was an epic film. Really good film. Backdraft. That's it.
Oh, okay.
So every time I was listening, so he got me, I got the tapes and stuff, and I was listening and I was reading at the same time to build the character. And Albert was all the time communicating with me and said, what do you think about this? What we should do? And then we went to the wardrobe. I'm telling you, that woman was fantastic. I'm telling you, it's like some people, they have talents. You show up and that person has talent. The way she choose the wardrobe was like, I don't have to be worried about it. She knows what she's doing, and it's such a great relief for an actor. It's like, she knows her stuff. That's great. The makeup were great too. The same thing. And so that's a big difference. I think a lot of people say there's A-listers and B-listers, and what's really the difference. The real difference is sometimes in an A-lister, they get all the best people together, right? You got a best director, the best of the best of the best, so you can't really lose, at the end, except if the story is not good, right?
Yeah.
Or if the characters or the characters are not good, that could, or the music sometimes. When they put the best together, it's really, you can't lose.
Yeah.
On the independent film, it's a little bit different. There's a budget, so we can afford only people that we can afford.
Yeah.
So sometimes, some people are available and they're willing to get less money but work for an independent pictures. And sometimes it pays off. Most of the time, it does pays off because they're really talented.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was such to me, that's an underrated film. More so because of the mixture of the sci-fi and that cyberpunk kind of feel, and it's not a straight martial arts film. It's so much more with, like you said, the set design, and like you said about Albert Pune's vision is so vibrant in that film. You could see it. I watched that probably a year ago again, and again, it still holds up as far as just the vision that was put forth in that movie. Yeah. So,
but I think the timing of the release was not perfect as well. I think he was ahead of his time. Yeah. That's the way I feel, for the release.
I agree.
It's sometimes the timing, is wrong with the film. So, I think if it was maybe 3 or 4 years later, it would have been a huge success,
Absolutely.
Savate was great too. So MGM was supposed to pick it up and release in 3,000 theaters, and only one person said no.
Oh, it's always those stories, that one
person. Yeah. But guys, I tell you right now, when I go to the movie theater and I see all these action pounding on me, I'm like, dude, I can't watch it anymore. It's like too much. So I want to go back to the 90s. Yeah. And I think a lot of people look at Maverick. That's a 90 movie, right? 90 or 80, I forgot.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
And we're coming back. He said, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Because it was pure, simple, but pure. And the good guys, the bad guys. It's great. It's not so complicated with things coming out. It's like, I can't, my brain doesn't.
I agree.
I'm tired.
I agree. Like I have an appreciation as a filmmaker, but as I'm sure you do. But again, I often go back to my VHSs or my DVDs. So again, because watching that cinema, like I mentioned, like your cinema and Dacascos and Daniels and Don the Dragon and Cynthia Rothrock, like all of that stuff, it's simple. I can follow the plot line. There's not different universes and multiverses, and all the action is so quick and sped up and slow motion. And I'm just like, even in the Matrix and some of those sequels, it was so much going on. It's too much.
I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So to be honest with you, one day we went, I'm not going to tell the film now. We went to just recently with my son. I fell asleep. Too much action. I just fell asleep because it was not, if you look at the characters are so important. Yeah. So if you don't develop the character and it's just a bunch of action, I'm bored. But if I'm attached to the character and the characters are going from point A to point B and they evolve during that journey, then I'm interesting. Especially if it's, a character is not, a superhero. Because, like being a tough guy, we laugh at tough guys. I mean, it's true.
Yeah.
Now, when we look at tough guys, like, but... Because we know the truth, we're not tough.
But that's where the magic was. I mean, growing up with Bruce Lee and then Jackie Chan and like a lot of the earlier cinema, and then even younger Jet Li, and they're regular looking guys that you can follow because they're not 300-pound muscle jack guys. They're not doing superhero things, but they're overcoming the odds just by humility and the training that they have to overcome.
Exactly.
And that's
a martial arts.
Exactly. That's something.
And I think this is what really excited me about learning martial arts. Is like, it doesn't matter how big you are. It doesn't matter who you are, female, male, or doesn't matter, right? It's like if you learn the techniques and you are obviously mentally also prepared when the fight comes, right? Like I was talking before,
Yeah.
and you use the tactics, because there's tactics also, and you read Sun Tzu, of course, this is for the tactics, then you can accomplish some miracle, really.
Yeah.
And the freedom that you have, when you can fight, and you are in the middle of the crowd, and you look like maybe there's danger here, but you are the only one who's relaxed.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Why is that? Why is this guy just relaxed and everybody's intense because somebody's screaming and waving a knife, and this guy is chill? Yeah. There's a problem there. Are they together? No, because he's a martial artist. He knows maybe he's going to get hurt, but he's going to be able to at least give us some challenge.
Absolutely. And I think that's why we as an audience and forever resonate, even in the boxing realm, with a character like Rocky. That'll forever be a character that overcame the odds and went up against these giants, from Mr. T to Dolph Lundgren, and you're sitting there, I hit him, like we forever will love those films because it was the underdog, and it's somebody that overcame those in Russia fighting against the big Russian, and that's there, something that again isn't a CGI monster. It isn't something that's a villain that you can't that'd be insurmountable to overcome, like Thanos. It's like it is a real flesh and blood person, but there's a believability to Rocky Balboa. There's a believability to watching a lot of these cinema legends, and because again it's shrouded in reality, and that's, I think we lose that sometime now when things are just so overblown. And I agree with you 100%. So,
but so what's really important for the people, especially nowadays, when things are very chaotic, like you don't know what you think, we don't know what to do and stuff. It's really like sometimes go back to the basics and just let this time go through, pass. It will pass. We're going to go through difficult time, but that's part of life. Think about, that's why I was telling my friend, think about having the movie and the story goes from point A to point B, right? But everything is perfect. We'll be boring, right?
You've been born, yeah.
And we're born. So you need challenges. You need challenge. I'm going to put some charge. You need challenges in life, and if you have challenges, and you let me check. Oh, it's okay. We're still okay. If you have challenges and you surpass your challenges, I think it's if you're weak at example at something and you work on it, especially when you have time, and you get stronger and stronger, that's something that, it's this is a way I do with my life. If I'm afraid or I'm not good at something, I'm going to work on it. So I get stronger and stronger and stronger.
Absolutely.
For the guns, I don't like guns. I really don't.
Oh, okay.
No, it's interesting. People say, well, you love guns. I don't like guns. Yeah. I have only 2 guns. That's it. Mm-hmm. I'm not like a fan of guns, what kind of guns you have. No, I'm not a fan. Yeah. I'm a fan of tactics. I'm a fan of using it to, of course, defend myself, defend my family, defend the country, whatever. Mm-hmm. But I'm not a fan of the weapon itself. Yeah. And I think martial arts, I prefer to fight with my hands. I think it's more rewarding, So.
I agree. Our buddy JW has a question. Mr. Gruner, did you enjoy making a Western recently, Ultimate Black Hat White, with gunfight at Rio Bravo?
Yeah. Well, listen, it was great. It's a small production, right? But it was great. He's we work with Art, of course, Camacho, and he was fantastic. Art, Art and man, I'm so sorry. I forgot his name. Oh boy, I'm embarrassed there. He has Mario. That's it, Mario. Art and Mario. So they work together a lot. Mario is he's a fantastic guy. I love Mario. He's always he's a really good coordinator, but he always like help Art, and these guys are fantastic. So when we did the fight scene, we had such a good time because they really work with me. These guys worked with me. They were not against me. They were not imposing things that I can't do. Certain things I'm not good at, so I'm not going to use it. But things I'm good at, and we put it in the Western. It was great. Alexander Nevsky was a great guy. He's he's an interesting person. He's good. We love him.
Did you ride horses?
Matthew's huge was a lot of fun.
Oh, I love him.
So we went on a horseback ride. I'm not really a rider, but I ride a little bit. So we had a good time. Offset going and spending some time in Arizona horseback riding. That was fantastic. I love Western. I think Westerns are such a great part of our lives when we were kids. I used to go with my father in watching Clint Eastwood and Once Upon a Time in the West. I used to watch Jeremiah and Johnson. So I really love Westerns. That's the way they dress. I think it's so cool. So cool.
So there's a picture.
I love Westerns.
There's a picture in the tribute that I did of you in the Western garb, and you look like you were feeling it. Like that has to be getting into character when, like you said, when you put on that garb and the mustache, all of that. That's awesome. I look forward to seeing that.
And the camera guys, the guys who filmed it are fantastic. I mean, you know what? When you look at the camera where it's placed, because we have enough experience.
Yeah.
And you look at the guy, what he's doing, exactly he knows.
Yes.
And that, again, when guys have talent, it's like, you don't have to be worried. You're going to look good.
Yeah.
So there's a trust. What I'm saying here is like, you have to really trust the person you work with.
Absolutely.
There's some guys, you go on the set and you say, oh, it's going to be a nightmare. Or makeup. Yeah. That happens a lot. Say,
especially with HD cameras now.
You can see every detail.
Every detail, yeah. So you're also a director, producer, screenwriter. So what do you take from those as a professional? Do you enjoy those as much as the on camera work, or is it something that how does that move you as a professional?
Well, I think when you when you take a camera, you take a picture, or you film something. If you have it, if you don't have it, the angle, or what do you want to tell the story. So I tell a lot of people, when you take a picture, look at every layer. So the layer that you have in the background is as important as in the foreground, right? Because it gives you some information. Yes. So, for example, behind me, you can see, it's kind of but you have a sign over here, right? But if I wanted to make more like, studios, I would put a bookshelf, behind me. Yeah. Then I look like I'm more, I'm smarter, I study a lot. So that gives you something with the character. Yeah. Being a director, I think it's great because you have, you really know the film by heart, and especially if you write it. If you write it, you know the story, you know how you're going to shoot, you have a visual, and the visual is in your brain, and you're like, okay, let's go there, let's go and see the snow, because I want some snow. Where do you think there's a great mountains and a great look with beautiful pines, and maybe we can have the snow falling at the time, so location scout. So you have a lot of work to do.
Absolutely.
But it's because it's so rewarding after when the film is done and you look at what you've done. It's a lot of work, but you look at it, said it came from my brain and it goes into that on the screen. So when we did,
please,
yeah. So it's really rewarding. I think it's a most being an actor is different. To be honest with you, being an actor is just a little pure. Even if you are the star, you're still a little pure in that big thing, because you have extras, you have other actors, you have the composer, you have the director, you have all these people, wardrobe, everything is like a big package. So when you are the director, you're in charge of that.
Yeah.
So if the film is successful, it's really because of the director, and of course the producer. But the main thing is really the guy who's holding the stakes
Absolutely.
is really the director.
So was it nerve-wracking at all? Because I know you've been the star of things that you've directed. So wearing both hats, that was never nerve-wracking, like kind of jumping in front end. Because I did that once in my career, and I said I'm going to wait till I get much older till I ever do that again. Because I was on camera, then I'm like jumping, looking at the shot, and then sizing up my performance, and then going back, and I was too young. I was in my 20s at the time, and it was not the right time to do both.
Yeah, you know what? No, it was easier actually because I knew exactly what I wanted. You know, sometimes when you talk to the director and he says something, you're like, I'm really not sure if that's the performance that you want. You know, and so sometimes it's there's maybe a miscommunication. So, but when you're director, it's okay. You know exactly how, and it's easier for me to act when I direct. You know, really easy. But if I have a great DP, oh, that's great. I don't have to be worried.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's a trust, like you said, with the people you're working with. So at the time, I didn't have that. And once I found that, there was a lot. I could not worry. I didn't have to worry about lighting or how I was going to look. I could focus on the character and doing the action and doing everything. And I didn't have to worry. Oh, he's got that. They got that. They're good. So that's a big deal to have a team around you that holds you down. So definitely.
Yeah, it's really a teamwork.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have another question. JW, has he found someone to mentor that could be the next him? Don't know that his work ethic can be matched, but has he met someone we should keep our eye out for?
That's an interesting. I never thought. That's a great question. I haven't thought about it. Because my life is so different than anybody. I never consider myself as a movie star, and I tell you a story. You gotta hear that. This is you guys. You're gonna laugh. I was at the beach, right, with my girlfriend, and so I was swimming in Malibu, and then I come back from the water and just went off, and those people stopped me and said, "Hey, can we take a picture?" And I look at them, and really, I look at them and say, "What do you want to take a picture for?" I said, "Aren't you an actor?" Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I forgot. I'm an actor. Oh, because it's not like the '90s. The '90s, we were used to it, right?
Yeah.
But now it's different. There's a new generation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it really threw me off. I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry," because I was like, "What do you want to picture?"
They thought you were a jerk. They thought you were a jerk for a moment.
Yeah, I was a jerk. So to be honest with you, it's a great question, but because I do so many different things. Yeah. One day I'm focusing on acting, and I really focus. So when I focus. That's it. Yeah. When I do Gruner tactical, that's what I focus on. When I fly helicopters, that's what I focus on. But I'm not good at having a job here, and all together. Yeah. I'm not very good at that. So try to find somebody, but I'm sure there's guys, there's really good guys out there. I'm sure, maybe we didn't discover them yet,
It's just a different,
it's a good question, honestly.
It's a great question because we were talking about the time where these movies were king in the 90s, and it is a different time. I mean, now I think the most that I get, at least I find, is Scott Adkins makes the films that are kind of akin to that time. And Michael Jai White makes some films that are, but they're the two that kind of and then we have Tony Jaa and Eco from the Raid films that is doing some interesting work, but there's not as many as there was during that time frame when there was a slew of different, and some of them were champion martial arts, whether it was Don the Dragon, or there were so many at the time but again, that's a great question as to who. Scott Adkins is the only person in recent memory, and even he now has been around for probably almost 2 decades. So yeah, great question.
But again, I think when we watch a movie, it's really about the character. It's really about and if we can have somebody very humble, and really good at what he does. You have some really excellent stunt guys, can replace the guys, but it's true as a fighter, honestly, you can't tell if the guy knows how to fight or not. You can. It's like when somebody holds a gun, I can't tell. He knows, or he doesn't know. Somebody jump in a helicopter, I know he's a good pilot or he's not a good pilot. You can tell. There's little tiny little things, you know. The way just he hold it, the way he just walk with a gun, you can't tell the guy doesn't know.
I remember being young and watching Double Dragon, and I remember there was Scott Wolf on one side who was the Party of Five actor, and then there was Mark Dacascos, and I'm like, that dude there is badass, Dacascos, and the other guy. No disrespect to Scott Wolf as an actor, but because he's a fantastic actor, but. He's a fantastic actor, but it's Mark Dacascos. Like, again, is a champion martial artist, and he's got charisma out the wazoo. So I just remember being mad, and I'm like, why did they cast like someone that was equally as badass as him? And I will never forget that movie, just because. And that's what a lot of people talk about, is that one brother is doing flips off of things and doing capoeira, and the other one is obviously they're hiding the fact that he really probably doesn't even know how to throw a punch. So, but it's interesting. All right.
So there's something also I never didn't talk about it yet. Is, you know, like in 1979, when I was in Africa, I got captured. You know, in for 3 hours, and that really changed the way I think about, you know, things. You know, this is what really changed the way my path went, you know, just counting on myself. So I would never count on anybody, not because, you know, they didn't come and save me. It's because they didn't know where I was, and they didn't know that I was captured at that time. Okay, so I got lucky. An old man, you know, just talked to those guys and just let me go. But it was that time that I realized that you cannot count on anybody else than yourself. And that's really important, you know. Yeah. And I live my life like that, you know. You can't blame anybody else than yourself. So example, when I teach tactical, you know, when I teach even martial arts, if there's never a bad student, that's, for me, it's really important. There's never a bad student. Some people learn differently, but there is never a bad student. So if you are, example, if you have an actor on the set and he's not really listening or doesn't understand what you want from him, don't blame him, because he's still a human being. But blame yourself, because you cannot explain what you want from the person. Gotcha. You know, his way. So different people have different way of learning. So again, it's so important, you know. Absolutely. But count on yourself in your life, no matter what. Don't count on anybody else, you know, and blame yourself. Because if you do not blame yourself, what's going to happen? You're never going to grow. It's true. You're never going to grow. If you think about, well, I'm great, you know, it's his fault, you know, you're never going to grow. If you say, well, I screwed up. Yeah, I did. Yeah. Okay, well, too bad.
You learn the lesson.
Let's work on it.
Yeah, you learn the lesson.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's you giving us our words of wisdom. I usually ask for at the end, but that's awesome. That's great. It's amazing. So, all right. So this is our weekly. I call this one sentence or silence. I ask you a name of someone that you've worked with, either in front of the camera or behind the camera, and you give me a few words about them, good or bad. And if you stay silent, that means you don't like them and they suck. So
okay.
All right. So we're gonna start off with Lorenzo Lamas.
He's a great guy. Great pilot, too. We have a lot of fun together.
Awesome. Billy Zabka.
Oh, he's awesome. Are you kidding me? That guy is great, man. He's a fun guy. I love that guy.
Awesome, man. Independent film cinema legend, Robert Townsend.
Oh, man. Are you kidding me? We had such a great time. That guy is so much fun. Yeah. No, you know, these guys are great, man. I love them.
Awesome. Kari Hiroyuki Tagawa, another.
Come on, that's a legend, man.
A legend I've met.
How can you kind of love that guy? The guy is awesome, man. I love Kari.
I got a chance to party with him in Atlantic City like years ago at a martial arts cinema event. Him, Cynthia Rothrock, and Don Wilson, and he was the life of the party dancing on the floor.
Oh, you did?
He was.
Now you
know all the girls around him.
With you. He does that. He parties with you, but with me, you know what he does? He showed me how to do push-ups on his bed. Well, you know why? You know why? Because he said, "Listen, Olivier, you'll see when you do push-up on the bed, everything is unstable. It's really good for your core." And he's so right. Try to do push-ups on the mattress. You'll see.
Wow, I'm gonna try that now. Wow,
Yeah, you should try it.
That's amazing.
I love that guy. He's great, man. I love him.
All right, Ernie Hudson.
Yeah, great guy. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, we didn't spend too much time, so but
Okay.
I can't really say anything. We don't have a story behind, so I can't really. But these guys, yeah, no, really,
awesome.
Thumbs up.
All right, Alicia Coppola.
Oh yeah, very pretty girl. But that's a long time ago.
Yes, but I like her work too. I followed her for a long time.
She's excellent.
Awesome.
She's very professional. She's a pro.
Awesome. Ian Ziering.
Oh man, Ian's fun. Ian Ziering. Yeah, great guy. Great. Yeah, nothing bad to say about Ian Ziering.
Oh, wait a minute. What were they in together? I missed that
Savate. Yeah.
Oh,
Savate.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know he broke my nose, right?
No, I didn't. No, please.
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Okay, here's the story. 4:00 in the morning. We have 2 more days to shoot. Okay. 4:00 in the morning. I'm in the center, and I'm supposed to run into the it's kind of a hangar or whatever it was, and pick him up because there's fire inside these the horse corral, I guess. I don't know what, and I had to grab him and pull him back into safety, right? So we rehearse it. It's 4:00 in the morning, and I said, so my lines are Kane, and I turn around. He comes running towards me. Boom! Oh, my nose all the way up here.
Oh,
I'm bleeding. Of course, he felt so bad, right? So now he's worried about lawsuits, all that stuff, and I'm like, I'm not that guy. I just I swallowed it, and it was a big production, so I was not worried. I was making.
Just tell him he owes you the next Sharknado.
Exactly. Tell him that. Tell him.
Yeah, where is your Sharknado
movie? Broke my nose. So
yeah. How'd you finish?
But honestly, this was all the way up here, right?
Yeah.
So we had to fix it. So if you look at the last day, the way we shot, they had to shoot me in an angle so you would not see my nose. So it was more shot from the back.
Oh, wow. Wow. Oh, that's
thanks, Ian. I still love you, buddy.
All right. Marty Cove.
Oh, come on. Marty Cove is awesome.
Yes.
Marty Cove, we did so many films together. That guy is a legend. You know what? I admire Marty for one thing. He used to be, A-lister, and then he went with us, right, to more the lower budget, and he never put himself in. He always performed to his best for years and years, and then finally he got another break, and I'm so happy for him. Yeah, because he really deserved it.
And he's delivering. Just the same with Billy Zabka. I think he deserved it too.
Oh, these guys. Yeah, I'm so happy for them because they deserve it. Really, they do.
Absolutely. All right, one of my favorites alongside you, the great Mark Dacascos.
Of course, Mark. Mark is awesome.
Haven't met him yet, but yeah, it's one of those. He's one of those.
No, he's a great guy. He's very humble. That's and he's kind of the pure martial artist that we are missing nowadays. Guys with a lot of philosophy behind, and he's a pro. Obviously, but he's very humble. When he was directing his showdown in Manila, he never put himself above us at all. He was always, like treating us like he was, and he's a great guy.
Yeah, there he is. Yeah, again, an underrated. Yep. I mean, I just feel. I mean, I have strong opinions on how underrated all you guys were during that time, because the adulation went to the Segals and to the Van Dams, and again, not that they weren't worth their weight in gold like at that time, but there was a lot of great work you guys did. So that's legendary. Yeah. So Tom Matthews.
Yeah.
A friend
Excellent.
to the network. Yes, another
Yeah.
great guy.
Yeah, a great guy. You know, I
Awesome.
don't really have any problem with anybody that I work with. Really,
That's
I can
awesome.
recall. You
And
know, really.
that's a great thing there. Finally, another acting legend, Danny Glover.
Oh man, Donnie Glover, he was awesome, man. I directed him, you know, for one scene, and
Oh, okay.
yeah, it was. He had to do a scene. It was a green screen,
Hmm.
and I mean, how can I say it? A guy like that, you know, doing having all these lines, and the guy perform it like, you know, like it was nothing. I mean, it is a pro. The guy, the A-lister, you know, is Lethal Weapon. You know, guys, come on. I mean, the guy is a legend. You know, it's.
Absolutely.
I think that's why it's missing. You know, like
Yeah.
a Lethal Weapon. I mean, come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
And
Those
then
movies.
and Mel Gibson will not be Mel Gibson today without Danny Glover. I laughed so hard with Danny Glover. I mean, you remember the scene when he's in the bathroom in the
Oh
toilet?
yeah. Oh yeah.
I was. I love that scene, man.
It's great. It's
These guys work like this.
Yeah, there were movie stars then, and that's I think that's it's not that there isn't any now, but I talk about this a lot with the different friends. You had the Danny Glovers and you had the Gene Hackmans and the Harris. Like some are still around, Jack Nicholson, but it's not as much today. It's more about the IPs and the.
I totally agree. So here's a big difference. In the old days, and this is what happened, because we talk about that a lot, you know, when you made a movie, it was a big deal. When you were a star of a movie, it was a big deal because it cost at least $4 to $5 million to make a film because we use films.
Yeah.
So remember, when we use films, we need to have professional. You can't have a guy who just bought a camera and just shoot.
Nope.
We had lighter. The guy who does all the lighting has to be a pro.
Yeah.
The guys who use a camera, they have to be technicians, you know, and they spend years of learning. The director was really a director, you know, he spent a lot of years in school, you know, because the film costs a lot of money. And plus, you couldn't see what you shot. Exactly. You had to wait one day before you realized what you shot.
Yeah.
And so again, the money was was different at that time. So we were limited on how many films we could make.
Mm-hmm.
So again, there was less films, less movie stars, and when we made a movie, we were, you know, Hollywood knew about it. You know, when I made a movie in the 90s, everybody knew that I was making a movie. So it was different, you know.
It's a different world.
Now it's like, you know only real fans.
Tell us a little bit about Gruner Tactical, like how that came about. I'm sure it's a microcosm of a lot of years of things that you've been involved in.
Well, here's the thing. I look at the training, you know, and I see guys talking about tactical, and you see all those guys with a bunch of helmets, you know, night vision, all that kind of stuff, and then they go to the range and they shoot at a target. For me, it's not tactical. That's just shooting a gun, right?
Yeah.
So, and what really frustrated me was going to the range and having people yelling at you because you move the gun a little bit to the left, to the right, and you cannot draw, you cannot do anything. Really, you go to the range, you can't do anything. The only thing you're going to do, you have a guy watching behind you with a face, you know, strong like this, and everybody. There's a tension at the range when you go to the range. So I decided, you know, this is not a good training. You can't be static. You need to be, the real life is you got to be moving. You're going to move. You're going to be in the car. You're going to come out of the car. You're going to be rolling around, you know, fighting with somebody, and then you're going to be shooting in a different position. So it's not like you can say, okay, make sure you are in the perfect stand, you know, and extend. It's not going to happen like that. You're going to be falling. You're going to be doing different things, you know. So 5 minutes, you know, and so Gruner Tactical came out for really me giving the knowledge to people, and that's so important.
Awesome.
It's not, you know, you can have guys, they are champions, guys, they have a lot of experience, you know, in the field, but can't they translate this to a civilian, to people who, never hold a gun before?
Yeah.
Do they understand about what zero in your gun? What is a zero on the gun? What is a bullet drop? What is a, there's different things that you have to learn about the black powder, about different shape of the bullet. What's a hollow point? What's a full metal jacket? Very simple stuff, but it's still, some of the people don't know about it. So people buy guns all over the place, and they go to the shooting range, and they hit a still target, and they go ping, 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 and they look at it. Oh, it's pretty good. Look at that. I did good, but there's more to it. There's a lot of tactics. So what I teach also is tactics is more important than techniques. So I give you an example. Like if you have somebody coming at you with a knife and you are in your car, right? It will be different than if somebody comes with a gun, right? In the knife, it has to be close to you, right? To be able to, create any damage. A gun can be far away from you. So by using that, we're going to use a tactic. So the only thing you got to do with the knife is really just move a couple of feet. And if you keep maybe let's say 5 feet away from the knife, nothing's going to happen. So you can't use your car and have the guy try to chase you around the car, and you can't spend an hour like that, play tag, but if it was a gun, it would be different.
Yeah.
So that's why sometimes, learning the tactics, how to take a knife out. Yeah. Maybe it's really not what you need, but maybe if you learn the tactics, how can I save myself by just keeping the distance, and using things I have around me,
Absolutely.
So, it's a little bit different. The way I teach is so different. So
awesome. So
I have a big class on Sunday. I'm excited about it because we're gonna. Yeah, it's.
And you teach this all over different places. Like I know Vegas is one of the spots, and
because it's easier because you can't bring any kind of guns. We don't have restriction on, especially when we use ARs. There's if it's California, it has to be California. Retrofitted. Yeah. So that creates problem because obviously it's made for that. But Vegas, we have more freedom. So obviously, but I go to California too. I do some stuff in California, and we have what we need, to be legal, to be trained.
Awesome. It's friends of the show. Friends of the show, Sean Smithson says, "Awesome. I'll take a vacation to Vegas and definitely take a training course." Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. I was looking at it too, man, because of some of the most rigorous training I've ever had. 3 years ago, I was cast to be a soldier, and they brought a real soldier, like that had been 20 plus years experience, and he put us through the paces of like how to enter a room and how to hold the gun properly, like everything. And that was 2 weeks of like crawling around the woods and like literally going through the paces. So I had a new appreciation for what soldiers go through.
But you know what? What's really interesting, guys, is like it's not because you are a civilian and you never went to the military yet, you cannot become a soldier. Look at what's going on in Ukraine. These guys became soldiers like that. Yeah. So again, sometimes learning about things that you don't know it's always good to educate yourself. If you're afraid of guns, it's great to learn about guns. If you're afraid of flying, learn how to fly. It's going to change your life,
Absolutely. So one of my last questions is that I ask every week is, if you could play one role in any budget of film, what would that role be at this point in your career, and what type of film?
Top Gun! Manic! Are you kidding me? I'd be in the jet like this flying. Are you kidding? That'd be the best role ever. Are you kidding me? Tom Cruise knows what he's doing.
Nice.
When I saw the film, I was like, yes, finally. We got a good film, patriotics, the same. It was, thank you, Jerry Bruckheimer. Thank you, Tom Cruise. Yeah, that would be great.
There you go. I love that.
Don't worry.
I thought he was going to say something.
I swear.
I thought he was going to say something like in an Apache helicopter or something. But
yeah.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I haven't seen the new one yet, but I hear rave reviews on it.
Oh, it's great. It's great.
Awesome.
It's great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you gave us your words of wisdom, but just give us a few words of wisdom. Just we have a lot of filmmakers and up and coming actors and people that watch the show, and obviously it's a difficult business. You spoke a little bit on it earlier, but just give us some last words of encouragement or for everyone that's watching, please.
So I think, like, first of all, don't give up. That's something really important. If you are low on cash, because obviously it takes a lot of time, commitment, all that kind of stuff, just go to work, because I do that all the time. I go to work, and then sometimes, I shoot something. Learn your camera, learn how to shoot, learn how to observe people to make your film, real, and really trust your instincts. If you think, you have a great screenplay and it's great, and your instincts and everything tells you it's great, just you have a great screenplay. Try to shop it around. If you want to be a director and you're a good director, just keep it up, and try to make some short films. Now you have the chance of having YouTube, so it's excellent. You can really do your post it on YouTube, and you're gonna, I'm sure, but. So here's the difference between me and my career. Okay, in martial arts, I had an excellent career because I was very picky with things. I'm very undetailed, in martial arts. So all my techniques, I make sure they are perfect. In the film industry, I didn't do that much. I accepted some films that I should not have accepted. And I should have really focused on really detail about me acting. Like if I do something and I know there's something that's not perfect, my wardrobe is not perfect, I just, it's okay, it's fine, but it's not fine. People, they're gonna see it. If you do a fight scene and you film it and there's maybe something is a little bit off, but you can't really tell what it is, there's something off.
Yeah.
So really be detail oriented, and again, guarantee it, your career is going to go up. Awesome. So that's really important.
Yeah, detail. One thing I want to say too to the audience, and while you're here, Olivier, is that in reading your bio and reading just a lot about you over the last couple of weeks or whatever, the work ethic that you show, and it was mentioned earlier by a guest, is unparalleled, because that so many people in this business will just want to focus on one thing, and you do, like you said, you have Gruner Tactical, you sometimes you're a celebrity bodyguard, you're not afraid to get your hands dirty and do things, and we've all had to do jobs like to pay the bills and to keep the lights on and do things, and I think there's a humility too. Even our Camacho spoke on having to go work at a restaurant or whatever at the height of when he was making movies and things weren't working out. So for me, there's a humility that I think that we need to always have, no matter what we're doing.
Yes, but also, an experience. So just picture yourself. If you're going to do a film, you're a filmmaker. If you're a filmmaker and you're going to film, and the story is about a cook. Mm-hmm. Now, you never know, and actually about a cook and also about the dishwasher, the guy who's washing the dishes. Mm-hmm. If you never done it, you wouldn't know. Yeah. So how can you direct that? How can you make that film? You're not good for it because you never really experience it. Yeah. So I think, sometimes don't be afraid to be low, because you're never low, because we need people who I do the dishes in my house. My son just, I do the dishes. But I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to go to a restaurant and say, hey, and I need a job today. Can I maybe flip, some burgers or whatever? That's an experience, guys.
Absolutely.
Don't put yourself down because you're flipping burgers. That's ridiculous. Yeah. It's part of life. And that's the beauty of it. Just every time you're down, guys, if you are living in the car, because it happens, you're living in the car and you say, okay, my life is not going good. And that's okay. Because you know what? Just suck it up now, but always try to step by step, go. And something I always did is I worked out. That's really important for me. So even if I'm down or if I'm tired, I'm sick, I'm going to work out. No matter, it doesn't matter what it is. and that keeps my physique okay. And that's so important because when you go and get a job, they even if they say, you know, the physique is not important, but it is important. You know, the look and the way you know, your energy, if you are positive, and if you look at things differently, like if you think being a dishwasher, you know, is not a good thing, actually, it could be an experience for you. It could be very humble. You know, you wash dishes, so what? You know, but you know this is not where you're going to end up. You're going to end up somewhere else. So you're always going to go up.
Yep.
But do your job 100%.
Absolutely.
That's what I can tell.
Sean Smith and life experiences help you grow as a person. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. So, Mr. Ridgely, questions, please, for Mr. Gruner?
Well, the main question I have is, we're going to be wrapping this up. Where can we find you on social media and to research your upcoming projects, please?
Oh, I think, you know, like Facebook is, if I don't get in jail, if I don't go to jail, you know, you know, sometimes I can say some stupid things, but because I don't mean it, but I'm, you know, Instagram, Gruner Tactical, and Twitter, you know, and I post, you know, but I'm not, you know, like I post only when I want to, really. I'm not, you know, because I like my freedom. I think that's something that's important to me. You know, I don't want to be attached too much on something, you know, like social media is great, I think, you know, if you use it right. But sometimes, you know, it can
be an electronic leash. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
You have an OG line of fashion. Is that still available for people to find?
Yeah. There's Gruner Tactical coming up, and there's also the Pros A Way of Life. So there's the three things. I have so many things going on, so it's hard, you know, and some people wanted to handle it, right? But sometimes when you do that, then you lose control, and then suddenly you're gonna see a clothesline. It's not really you, and you're like, huh?
What is that?
What?
Is that Paisley?
Seriously, guys? Especially nowadays, you got to be extremely careful.
There's Gruner Tactical tassels now.
G-string? What?
I'm gonna look it up though, because again, OG just, I mean, that speaks to me obviously because it's universal, but again, just the support. I like the support.
Thank you so much.
Like to support whether it's the novels or apparel or whatever. So definitely we'll definitely look that up.
Let me say one more thing, if I may. So going back 20, 30 years, I was so much more looking forward to the martial arts movies, if they were low budget, mid budget, compared to, you know, the big budget $1 million, $2 million, $3 million films back then, maybe even 4 or 5, 10 million. But I mean, they had a meaning. They were just, I can't get the words out properly. It was just.
There's a philosophy behind. There's a message behind. That we don't have that anymore right now. So it's and you know, it's funny because there's one, what you're saying that, because there's one film that I rented. It was a Chinese movie and it was super low budget, but that inspired me. I mean, Bruce Lee obviously inspired me, but that inspired me too as well. So it was part of the package. Yeah. And this is where I decided, okay, martial art is for me. But it was not martial art to beat up people. See, a lot of people get confused. Most of us, when we learned martial arts, it was not to go in the street and beat up people. It was not about that, which is a little bit different now with the new, you know, MMA, which is a little bit different. We have a different crowd because the teachers were teaching you the discipline and the philosophy behind every time you go to those to the school in the 90s. And for gun, it's the same thing. I don't teach guns for people to go over there and shoot. Absolutely not. It's the opposite. It's actually to learn about them, not to be afraid of them. And if you encounter them, you know how to deal with them. That's it. That's all it's all about. You know, it's very rare that I see a real martial art guys who go over there and just beat up people. I've never seen it. I don't know any of them. Don Wilson told me one thing. It was really interesting. He says, "Oh yeah, I got a guy who challenged me, on the street, and he was ready to fight." And I said, "Well, I'm not gonna fight. It's if you don't pay me. You gonna pay me? We can fight. We can go anytime. But you gotta give me some money."
Yeah.
I love Don.
Awesome. So, Olivier, thank you so much for spending your
Thank you,
Friday
guys.
night with us. The network is honored. Thank you so
Thank
much. You're an OG of action cinema. You're a legend, my friend. And
Thank you.
anytime you want to promote anything, please come back and we'll keep an eye out on all the new stuff that you have coming up. We already
you.
have Sean Smith said he's following Gruner Tactical.
Oh,
And,
thank you.
And there you go. And again, I'm already following it. And again, like I love the training I did 3 years ago for that film. So if I'm in Vegas too, I'm gonna look you up as well because
Thank you. Come.
yeah, I mean it's not to be John Wick, but just to get to know to experience, just so you know, like how if you're ever unfortunately in a situation that you're calm under pressure and you can handle it possibly. So
Exactly.
so yeah, but again, thank you so much, Olivier. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend and please continue to do what you
too,
do, my
guys.
friend. Thank you.
Thank
Take
you so
care.
much.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank
I owe
you. It's
you.
been an
That's
honor.
the great
Thank
Olivier
you.
Gruner. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Right. What an amazing guest. I was in the green room the whole time. Just wow.
Like I said, I always have my cheat sheets in front of me, and there's a million other questions that I could have asked that I didn't even. I mean, again, we would have been here 3 hours.
Oh, this could have gone 3-4 episodes long.
It's just there's so many great films that I wanted to talk about, but again, we would have ran even more over time. But again, just the humility of this gentleman is just. I mean, he's obviously a badass. He's made badass films and stuff, but just to hear him speak is just, I mean, again, that's somebody that you want to emulate. For everybody that's out there that's watching, that we appreciate, you want to have that type of work ethic and that type of humility of a gentleman like Olivier, because it's not about beating people up. It's not about being John Wick and killing 500 people.
Oh no, it's always been about a state of mind and self-defense if need be. And that's it.
Yeah, even the military. I mean, when I was reading those stories, I mean, to go toward that. So we heard so many stories of people shying away, and he ran into the fire and became a Green Beret on the toughest, hardest level. And did that
at 17 years old. He started that
exactly, and then went into professional fighting after that, which is another thing, to get into the ring and be a champion. And it wasn't even for that purpose again, which I didn't even know that in reading until he spoke on it. But just again, I can't speak more highly of. I mean, I already had a huge, immense respect for him, but it's through the roof even more now. So hopefully I get to cross paths with him and work with him, or even just to shake the man's hand, because it's deserving. So thank you, Olivier. If you're still watching, thank you, brother. We appreciate you on the network tonight.
And I mean, you and I spoke about this in the past. I mean, when we were growing up in the 80s and 90s, it was either Cinemax or HBO or USA or TNT. They would play the martial arts movies on Friday night, Saturday night, and we were looking more forward to that than sometimes the latest Stallone movie. Or
absolutely, I absolutely was looking forward to every Tuesday. It was for me like going to the video store and at least 4 or 5 of these type movies that I was allowed to get, and most of them would be these films, whether it was Nemesis or Only the Strong or whatever these films were all of these gentlemen that kind of were the caretakers of action cinema during that time. And I wanted to see those more than the Chuck Norris films and some of those ones that were touted on a higher level in the theater. But for me, it was they brought me something a bit more than the popcorn stuff that some of the Van Damme films and some of those Seagal films
the
were
higher
giving me
budget
at that time.
films.
They had less heart to them, in my opinion, and that's not all of them, but we're speaking of a specific time when those movies became a little more campy on the Hollywood level, and they were a little more grounded on the lower budget cinema level. And you could follow the stories.
Indie.
You could follow the stories when you were following Sasha Mitchell or Michael Wirth or so many of those guys that were making those films at that time. and you could just follow these simple stories and get behind them. And yeah, Sasha Mitchell was the follow-up Sloan brother in the Kickboxer series. So
what the hell was the show he was on like TGI? Step by Step. He was Cody.
He was Cody. Yeah, yes. Cody. Yeah. He was like the goober too, like the goofy guy. But yeah, he's a real martial artist that was a real badass in life too. So yeah, again, for me, that totally. I know it sounds cliche sometimes to say it was an honor, but it was because we did grow up loving this type of cinema. So again, please, great. Oh, thank you, JW. Appreciate you. Thank you. Great job on your show the other night too. You're an amazing addition to the network, and I love Generation Movie. And this week coming up, we got Poltergeist coming up for a Generation Movie. Again, one of my all-time favorite horror films, and I will definitely be there chiming in my 2 cents on that. So yeah, I'm happy because again, that was an amazing guest. That again, when you get to speak to legends that you grew up admiring, that's a good night. So Mr. Ridgely, what do we have coming up on the network?
Man, you're going to put me on the spot again like you did earlier. I told you what happened earlier. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I've been doing so much research in the background. I failed to load pictures at... Whoa, what happened to my camera? That was weird. Did you see that?
Yeah, that was a little it was like, woo, little blur version there.
Anyway, that was an excuse to shop for a second. No, seriously, we have great things coming up. We have CJ Robles tomorrow, tomorrow. No, sorry, today's Monday. CJ Robles is going to be on with
Jesse D'Angelo. Yes, an artist,
a writer, director.
Yes, writer, director. Yes, a man of many hats. So our buddy Subsoil, which again, I'm glad that was brought up. So because we still have about 23 minutes, so I want to say live, happy birthday to Tim Milliken, our newest IE brother. Happy birthday, brother. Yes, he's officially part of the network, but he's going to be joining us with a show soon. But happy birthday, brother. I talked to you earlier and I wished you that, but I wanted to definitely get it in live on the show. So hope you had a great one, brother, and hope you had a good night with your family. So Monday night, Jesse D'Angelo with CJ, and
I know Gabe has somebody planned. He hasn't posted it as of yet. Okay. And on Wednesday we have JW with the Poltergeist episode, and
absolutely.
Thursday, Friday. Do we have next Friday yet?
Next Friday. Yes, next Friday is going to be a special episode, July 1st. It's going to be a little bit different than the ones we've had before, but it's one of my best friends in life. I've known him for close to 30 years. He's an actor, singer, model. Lamar Bunbury is his name, and you'll get to know him next week. He's had a storied career as far as the things he's done on an independent level, and he also has some tragedy that he befell him during the COVID years, the first year of COVID. There he is right there, my brother Lamar Bunbury, next week on IOU. So please tune in because it's a very heartwarming story of tragedy and then how he's overcoming it right now. So please tune in and support that show. All right, Mr. Ridgely, you got some cool things going on upcoming with Phantasm and we have a lot of great things.
We do. Phantasm in August in Orlando, Florida, Harlow's Haunt that's going to be there. Everybody knows that I was on this set not too long ago, but I'm going to be moderating their panel, and they're going to premiere the trailer for their movie there, and there may be an upcoming surprise guest. We'll wait and see.
Nice. That is going to be dope. Awesome. I can't wait to hear. All right, guys. So thank you for staying with us. A little bit extended of an episode, but it was well worth it with our amazing guests. So again, thank you to Olivier Gruner for coming on with us, and have a great weekend, everybody. And as I always end, believe in the power of yourself and the right others. Peace, everybody.